Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back with another video. So if you know my 91YJ, you know I don't really go crazy with the accessories. I don't have big light bars and lights and this and that all over it, but we are going to change that today. I do want some more light coming out of the front of this thing. Auxbeam reached out to me and they sent me out a little 12-inch light bar. It's amber or white. You can switch it back and forth, so we're going to get that installed and see how it looks. But I gotta make some totally custom mounts for it. So this is the bar. It's a 12-inch bar. You see it has that center row, and that is the amber light, and then the top and the bottom is the white. So there's a switch to switch it back and forth. Basically 3 wires. The yellow is the switching, and then that's power and ground. You know, I've never been a fan of big light bars up here, or even the ones that go right there. But this particular one, I'm gonna stick it right here on the front, but even that creates some challenge because I don't have any brackets for it. I don't want it down here where it's gonna get hit, and I don't want it up here where it's gonna block airflow to my radiator. So I'm actually gonna build some brackets that come off the end of these hex bolts, and I'm gonna try to place it right above the fair leads so it's as low as possible. And yeah, we're gonna bust out the cardboard and whip something up. So this is the harness they sent with it. This is the lead that goes out to the light. You've got a relay, you've got your fuse and battery connector, and then this goes into the cab. And this I'm not a big fan of. It's kind of corny. It's mode and then on off. It has some sticky stuff on it. The thing is I really wanted to wire this into my 8-gang switch panel, which I'll show you in a minute, and I don't think I can do it because I think I have to use this thing. So let me show you what I'm talking about. And the reason I think that I have to use that thing is because when you put power to the red wire, it actually turns on the white and the amber at the same time. This yellow wire comes from that mode switch, and unless I can figure out how to make it switch through the switch panel, I'm gonna have to use that thing. Now, Auxbeam did send me that light, but I actually purchased this about 6 months ago, and I have not got around to installing it yet. But it's one of those 8-gang switch controllers, so this is all you have to run into the cab. Comes with several different mounting brackets and choices, and then it has all these solid state relays and fuses, so you just have to supply power to one place, ground to one place, and then you connect all your accessories here. These are good for 30 amp and all the rest are good for 20. So you get 2 30 amp outputs. And I would love to use this to wire up that light bar. But like I said, unless I can figure out a way to make it do the switching and maybe put like amber on one and white on the other, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it work. So this is actually going to probably be a different video. And we're just going to work on getting that bar mounted in this video. So these are what the mounting brackets look like. They got these bolts you stick through. They've got the slots, and then this light has these nuts that are already in there, so you can basically put these wherever you want. So the way I'm gonna mount this is I've got some tabs that I'll show you in a minute, but I'm gonna build my own tabs that come down and then build a little flat thing right there for these bolts to go through. I'm hoping that it sits right about there for the height wise, which is just like an inch or so higher than the top of the winch. So let's get out the cardboard and see what we can't whip up. So these little brackets actually came on the winch, and it was for that spring mechanism that was up here, and I deleted that when I went to synthetic cable. But that's what gave me the idea for kind of how to base my bracket, because the one hole, it nests perfectly against that curve and keeps it from moving. So I'm going to build a bracket, I'm going to put a bend in it, then it'll go straight down like this, and then have another bend in it and a hole just like that. So I'm hoping for it to look something about like that. So I grabbed a piece of cardboard and I kind of traced that edge of this up, and that's roughly what it needs to look like. That little notch doesn't need to be there, but it should be able to bolt on there, bend on that dotted line so that this is this way, and then bend on that line, and it should sit right about there. I'll trim it only as far as it needs, then we just have to drill a hole in it. And I'll probably trim these a little bit shorter too so it don't run into the fair lead. don't know exactly how far forward or back this hole needs to be. I think that's gonna work pretty good, guys. Oh man, it is so humid out here, guys. Holy cow. It's like midnight and it's probably only 80 degrees, but I am just sweating bullets. Anyway, this is what these brackets turned out like. Now, I slotted these just so I could bend them easy. Yeah, I have the press brake, but this is like for anybody else, if, you know, I just wanted to show you guys another way to bend steel. So it's obviously a weak point now, so I'm actually just gonna get out the welder and just buzz a pass real quick along those and then grind it back smooth, and then I need to mark and drill these holes and we can test fit it. I decided to fire up the TIG welder just to keep the bead profile kind of small. See if we can focus here. Not too shabby. Alright guys, that's what they look like. So I just gotta punch those holes out and get them drilled on the tabs and also on these. I'm gonna measure one more time before I do this. I made these longer than my template because I cut too much off the template. But I'm gonna give it one more good eyeball to get my front and back distance the best I can, because I really only get one shot at it. Well guys, we got them test fit. They're a little low, they're a little close to the fair lead, so I'm gonna kind of jog that bend up a little bit like that, like a kind of like my finger. But anyway, it's like 12:30 at night. I am still sweating my ass off out here, so we're gonna get back on this tomorrow. Alright guys, it's the next day, we're back at it. Check out this shirt I got from Grind Hard Plumbing Company though. Tell me that just isn't me. Cardboard aided design. I had to buy it when I saw it. Anyway, let me show you these brackets. They ended up too low. We're gonna put some bends in them to bring them up a little bit. Alright, so there they are. And you know, there's a little bit of adjustment in them, but you can see they ended up pretty low, and it's gonna be impossible to get my rope off the end of here once there's a bolt sticking down through that. So I'm gonna have to bend this up and then back to flat so that it's about 1/4 inch higher. I really don't know how I miscalculated this so bad, probably because it was really late last night and I was tired. That's about what I was going for. This is what I'm talking about. It's only 89 right now. If you look at that, I guess it's only 73% humid, but it's sticky out here, man. It's bad. That looks much better. So once I cut that, it should be alright. That should come out under that bolt. And now we know where we can cut it off. So here's a little quick tip for you when you need to shorten a bolt, and sometimes it'll mess the threads up on the end and then it's real hard to get a bolt started. So what I like to do is just put the nut on there, run it down past where you're going to cut it, and then you make your cut, and then as you screw this off of there, if it had messed up the last little thread, or the first thread I guess, the nut will kind of help straighten it out, and then it's a lot easier to get the nut started once you put it through the bracket and everything. Yeah, see, it's real tight, so now running that over it kind of helps. I'm really surprised that they didn't give me washers and stuff for these. Dang, that looks pretty centered right there. So we're a little bit crooked right now, so I gotta just tweak these brackets a little bit. It's not too bad, it's just there's no washers on those little bolts, and so it kind of made these brackets slide against the light when I tightened them. So it's just a little bit off, but I like how low it is. I can still get to my rope, there's a gap there, but it sticks up like basically as minimally as possible as far as blocking airflow into the radiator going down the road and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm gonna make a few adjustments to this stuff, and then we're gonna pull these off and paint it and get them reinstalled. I want to show you guys something. I actually get a lot of questions about why my winch doesn't have a control box, and that's because I got rid of the box. I hard mounted the solenoid right here on my fender. So down here, right there, if you can see it, that's the plug for the remote. I just drilled a hole in the fender so you can stick your remote in there. But these two wires run to in-cab control switches, so they activate the solenoid. So I don't even need the remote. I can just flip a switch in the cab to run my winch in and out. And again, like this stuff, it's not terribly wired. And in fact, this stuff won't even go through that Auxbeam switch. There's just a lot of stuff that I really would like to clean up in here. So unless I can figure out how to change this light bar from white to amber using that wiring, I'm not going to be able to run it through the Auxbeam switch controller. So I'm actually going to just like loosely install the harness here, and I'm going to play around with that mode switch, and I'm going to see what it is sending down that yellow wire. Is it sending 12 volt? Is it sending ground? Is it like sending one on one and one on the other, because if I can figure out how it's controlling those two, then maybe I can still run it through that switch. So let's find that out. Otherwise, I'm just going to install it with the harness it came with, and it just won't be part of my switch. So I've just got this temporarily kind of hooked up to the battery. We're gonna see what this mode switch does. So I've got this connected also, so I'm gonna see, first we're gonna power it on. So it looks like we've got just the amber on right now, and then I'll hit mode. So we've got strobe, amber strobe, alternating strobe, white, and back to amber. So what I need to do is figure out what this yellow wire is. Is it sending 12 volt? Is it sending ground? So that's why I didn't crimp the plug on there, so that I can get this in there. So it is not showing me voltage. Let me make sure my lead is touching a good ground here. 1.4 volts. Let's switch to continuity and see if it's got ground. Does not have ground. Let's go back to volts. So 1.45. Let me just hit the button and see if it changes. 1.45. The strobing, it's just jumping all over. 1.45 on the white. So it's got to just be some kind of a signal, and I don't think I'm going to be able to replicate that with the actual switch panel, because this thing clearly has a chip in it that's doing all kinds of things. So I'm gonna have to install this in the Jeep. Dang, that is sick. That is exactly what I wanted. So now I gotta get this through the firewall, so I decided depinning this would be the easiest way. I took a picture of which one goes where, and these are really easy to get out of here. There's just that little tab on top, and you just push it with a pick, and then you shove the whole pin through. So now I'm gonna go run this where I want it on the inside of the Jeep, through the firewall grommet, and then I'll connect all this stuff back up and we can test it out. Alright, I kind of skipped over this part because it's just too hard to film under here, but I went with this spot, I stuck it there, ran it through that hole, and then out through that firewall grommet. Now you'll see I switched to spade connectors because I just couldn't get that plug through the rubber grommet, so I cut it off. And then, yeah, put those kind of connectors on it. Now, I did figure out a way that I can still run this on the 8-gang switch panel, but I still have to have this mode button here, but I can just run the power to this, to that Auxbeam thing when I install it. And that way, this won't work constantly, even when the key's off, because as of right now, it just hooks directly to the battery, and anybody could just walk up and turn it on, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna run it through that switch panel when I do that. Well, I installed these straight on here. I think it's going to be easier. So let's finally put this thing together and see what it looks like. I don't mind heat shrinking these if I ever have to get in there. I'll cut it open. Still sweating my ass off, but it's finally time to fire this baby up. Nice. Heck yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, I pointed this down and I thought that it would be a little bit further down, so I may have to adjust it some. And the camera doesn't pick it up very well. It's cool because it's orange, but it's not so bright that it's super annoying. And then there's some of the other modes. Puts the orange and the white together. And then the mix. Well, it's the next day. I pretty much had heat exhaustion last night, so I didn't take this outside to see what it looks like, but we're going to go do that now. Well, I got a day and night first, and then we're going to go look at it.
Bring that pillow down here, Mitchell. All right. I was just thinking we could just keep the beat going like this.
Smile, baby. Anyway, guys, if you want to get yours, you can use my code FLDORD, save 12% off anything Auxbeam sells. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Dumbass, that's hot!